In this video, we're going to take a look at the interface of Flash. So when you open up Flash, it comes up with this screen, which is called the welcome screen. You can make it so it doesn't show this when you open up Flash, but I suggest leaving it up because it has some nice items here. It has the ability for you to open up recent items, create new items, and even look at some of the tutorials that they might have. And these will actually link you possibly to Adobe Online where you can find videos. You can also go to Adobe TV so you can find out some marketing messages that they might want you to see. You can also go to the Flash Exchange where you can get information about plugins or files or techniques in Flash, so that's kind of cool. Now, typically what we're going to be doing is creating new files quite often. So we want to create a new file, which is Flash file ActionScript3, which is the version that we're going to be using. And we'll look at some of these other things in much later classes. But you'll just make sure that you always go to Flash New. You can also do File New and choose Flash file ActionScript3 from the top. So pretty much you'll always keep the default settings. Now, it is important to take a look at what the default settings are. So with nothing selected, and we're just created this document, you can see over here in our properties on the right hand side that we have some basic properties about this document, such as the size, 550 by 400 pixels, and the frames per second, which is 30 frames a second. Now yours might be a little bit different about your frames per second. And then you have your stage color here. If you click on this, you can change your stage color. Let's keep it on white though for now. Now, it's important to note what the different parts of the interface are. What you have right here is your stage, and you can see that it has a defined size, that 550 by 400 pixels, and that's what the size of our Flash file will be. Down here at the bottom we have our timeline, and you can see that we have our layers here. Now underneath this recording bar, I'll move that over to the top, you'll see that we have some icons here that are used for our layers, which are important, like creating new layers, creating folders, and deleting layers. And then we have some other icons about being able to see layers or lock layers and change the way that we view those layers. And then we have our keyframes here for our timeline. You'll notice next to this timeline is a tab called the Motion Editor, and we'll be playing with that when we do animation in later classes. I'm going to move that recording bar back down. Over on the right, you'll see we have Properties, and then next to that we have Library. And these are things that we'll be going to quite often. On the far right, we have our main tools that we'll be using. You'll notice that sometimes these tools will be on the left-hand side because that's the way that the applications for CS3 have always been set up. So there are different ways that we can actually move all of our panels. That's what these things are called. These are called panels. And if you look around, you see these double arrows, and those allow us to collapse and expand these panels, which is kind of nice. We have a lot of other windows or panels that we're not seeing right now, like the Align panel. And you'll see that right now this is floating by itself, but I can actually drag it over to the top and actually put it in there with these. I might be able to actually drag it and make it above the other. And actually I like that with the Align. I like the Align and Transform panels to be accessible often. So I'm going to try and move those in together. There we go. So Align and Transform I can put together, and I can actually make my own set of Windows settings. So you can actually see these presets. If you go to the Essentials here, you'll see that I can create a new workspace from what I've currently done, or I can reset it back to the original workspace for Essentials. So there's the original workspace. Here's the developer workspace, and it'll switch around the panels for me. Designer workspace, classic workspace. And the classic workspace makes it look a little bit more like a Flash CS3. So it's nice to be able to go back to, if you've been using CS3 for a while, this might make you feel more at home. We're going to try and use the Essentials for the most part, although I might modify my Essentials to put my Align and Transform over on the top right. The Align, Color, and Transform are the ones that I like over there. So modify your workspace, and when you're done, create a new workspace by typing in a name in new workspace, and you've got that accessible later. Go on to the next.